Hello, my name is John.
And I'm Nikki, and we are the bosses next door.
Today we're talking about something that I think that most couples don't either do or talk about in public because it's maybe got a bad cloud around it or I don't need that help. But Nikki and I today are talking about couples therapy and the business edition, right? So couples therapy in itself, I was that person was like, we don't need couples therapy. We've been together a long time. We know each other. We get along. And then when you start a business, even when you don't start a business, like you can grow apart if you're not careful, if that's fair. And then when you start a business, there's like a lot of stressors, especially if your sole income is coming from those businesses. So in 2019, because we found out, that's when we first started couples therapy. And couples therapy, for me, I remember going, right, and we're like, she's like, what's the major issue? I'm like, oh, there's no issue, right?
Yeah.
Everything's fine, right?
Yeah.
Now we had our spats as we've been together 25 years. We've had our spats here and there. But we're like, oh, there's no issue. She's like, oh, you guys will argue within the next couple sessions, right?
Yeah.
Shit. We were like fighting like cats and dogs. And we're like, damn, all kinds of stuff's coming up. But
And this, and this.
right. Mm-hmm. But what I realized, and maybe you can elaborate better than I can, but what I realized is that like there's little things that happen throughout the day, throughout the week, the month, that kind of get like little dings that kind of get built up, right? And it's not maybe not directed a certain way, or it's not meant a certain way, or maybe it is, but you just move past it. And Nikki and I are really good about like bouncing and just going. But I think that overall there was things that were really bothering you and me, and there were like stuff that you didn't even think about that would necessarily tick me off or take it a certain way, and vice versa. Is that fair? Can you?
Yeah, I
elaborate
think
on
a
that?
lot of stuff for us was how I was hearing things that you were saying versus what you were actually saying and what you really meant.
Right. That's fair. That's probably a way better way of putting it. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because she would just like give me the slide eye, like, oh, what the hell? And I just kind of keep moving because I'm not thinking about it. And then I just didn't realize that the impact that was having on you. And then over time, right, it just kind of builds up and is some sort of resentment. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I just, well, at the time, I wouldn't like find a way to tell you. And I didn't know, because that's why we're going to therapy. Is like, how do we communicate about this? Because really, I just wanted to like pop off and go off because,
Yeah.
like, what did you say to me? Like,
Yeah.
and you didn't think anything of it. And I'm like, no, I totally heard it in like a completely different way.
Right.
So
So you think if we didn't have a business that the pop off and all that stuff would be way different?
I think we spend so much time together that we had to figure out a way to communicate
Yeah.
that worked for both of us.
Yeah.
Here in the office and also at home.
Right. That's fair. I think for me, like I'm very grateful. Like I pray every morning on the way to work, and but I always pray like I'm grateful for my wife and my kids and everything. But I really am grateful because we do spend so much time together. It would really be shitty if like we didn't get along. But I like that I like that we like being around each other. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And actually, somebody asked me about it the other day, and they were like, but do you really like your husband? Because you're with them all the time. Like, you work with him. And I was like, no, actually, like, we are friends.
Yeah.
Like, we hang out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You have friends, I have friends, whatever. But like 9 times out of 10, like, we'll just hang out.
I don't really have friends. I have business friends. Like I have people that are in the business world.
Same.
But I don't have like friends.
Same.
That's really a whole nother level of like.
I mean, that's a whole nother episode.
Right. But I think therapy, right? Like ultimately, we've spoken in a couple of events. We've been on podcasts. We've, even talking to other people. I think we bring up therapy a lot.
I think you bring up therapy a lot.
I bring up therapy a lot because I think it was a big game changer. I think it was a big game changer for us.
Yeah.
Because I think it gave us a different avenue of like, how is she taking it or how is he taking it? And and what therapy ended up being for us is like, there would cycles, right?
Negative cycle.
So you have a negative cycle and we come in, but a lot of the time we came when we were talking about work and we're talking about maybe a big issue we had or problem we had. And I think for me, it was really nice to kind of pull ourselves every other week away from the office. Our phones are down. And even if we're talking about business, like we had each other's undivided attention. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And our therapist sometimes would just be sitting there and be like, sorry. And she's like, no, that's fine. That's just what needs to happen, you know? And it's just like kind of like a little mini war room, like figuring something out.
Yeah, she became like a business liaison or something because it's like we're always talking about what we're doing, how we're getting there, whatever challenges we are facing, and like what the outcome should be or what we would want it to be. And then she'd say, you know, like, how are you going to achieve it? And it's like, okay, well, if we do this, and then she's just sitting there and we're like going back and forth. And then she'd chime in and be like, hey, that's good. So you guys have a plan. And like, she's like, but you guys are problem solvers first, like always problem solving. And so I think she just helped bring, as her name, find clarity with Ellen. We were able to be clear and find clarity because now we know how to speak to each other without upsetting the other person. Or if we do upset the other person, vice versa. Like we know right away, like, wait, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a lot of practice though.
Yeah.
We're not there at the beginning for sure.
No. But, I mean, how many years was that? 5, 4 that we went?
2019 till recent, she moved away.
Yeah.
So now I got to figure that one out.
We're in limbo.
That's right. But I think it also is like really was able to get us to triage situations in personal life, but a lot in business, right? It was because now we have a common ground we step on. We have a way we talk to each other, like that kind of thing, right?
Well, I think it also helped in our delivery to the team too. So as we're learning to lead and be better leaders for the different teams that we have, we now know, okay, and like we've talked about before, like Colby score and testing, and it tells you people's personality traits and what works best for them. Yeah. But by being in therapy and learning how to communicate with each other, like we do, I feel, communicate really well with our teams.
I think so too. I think communication is super key. We are good at communicating with them, and I do think that is probably given us a different. I didn't really think about that. It's given us a different avenue or different approach to maybe look at team members in the different businesses we have, because each business is different, right? It's like different. Not either business has better or worse employees. They're just different types of employees.
Yeah, they're into different things.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, completely different people.
Yeah, so I think that is great. I think if we didn't have, this is just off the top of my head, I think if we didn't have therapy, I think this last probably 2019, going through COVID, doing all that stuff, like the ups and downs of business and everything else, because we really started growing, I think, in that 2018, 19. Is that fair?
Yeah, somewhere back there.
And I think if we didn't, I think it could be pretty rocky as far as like, I don't see us ever like going separating or being apart, but I do think it would have been a different understanding with each other. And I think now that you say it, maybe the communication with our team would have been a lot rougher.
And she was also really good at helping us through like the hard situations or the hard conversations, like a lot of rehearsal in therapy. How am I going to talk to this person because they've done this, this, and this, which is not okay. Yeah. So how do we address it and still be fair? Like we learned things along the way from being in business groups and stuff, but being in therapy and to talk about it, I think it really helped me be super mindful of other people's feelings. Yeah. Like I'm always thinking about how are they going to take this? Like how is it received, right? How is it going to impact them? What are they going to do with what I'm saying? Like I probably think too much about how the other person is going to feel on the other end. Yeah. But I think it's necessary. Yeah. And so, but I learned more of how to do that being in therapy with you.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then we have on here, like, being married doesn't mean you automatically married a good business partner, right? And I think, like, I got pretty fortunate. Now, in the beginning, not so much because Nikki was fighting me every, like, tooth and nail because that's not her upbringing, not what her desire was, not all those things. But I think over time, like you said before, you saw that it turned into something. You're like, oh my gosh, this is really can be something. And I think when you had that full buy-in, but I think that's something else. Like you have to have a clear understanding, yes, with therapy, but you also have to have a clear understanding when you're with a spouse, like what's their dreams? Like we talk about that, right? We have our dreams of what we want to accomplish, but have you ever asked your spouse or significant other, like what's their dream? It's maybe not the same dream that you have.
Well, we have the same dream now.
Oh, man. Yep. It just took a lot of convincing. No, I'm
Yep.
just kidding. It took COVID and watching all those shows. Like, wow, we could do this.
Yeah.
So I do think that is something that is mistaken, because in the beginning, I just assumed, well, like, okay, we're starting this. We agreed on it, and like, okay, let's go. And I didn't take into account that like that isn't what were primed for at the time, or you didn't like, oh my God, the amount of work we're getting ready to put in right now. Your season, right, of how hard it's going to be. Like we're in a season right now of a lot of work. I feel like right now, but getting ready, as all this stuff's happening. But
Yeah.
in the beginning, it's survival, right?
Had to do it.
You had to do it, yeah. And there's
We didn't have a choice. Like we just didn't have a choice. So
There's a lot of arguments, right? But I think it's just stress directed the wrong way.
sure. We didn't have any therapy to help us.
I couldn't afford therapy. Couldn't afford the gas to get there. So I think that is probably why, right? And we didn't have a good understanding of each other, of like what our goals were. Now, granted, the goals in the beginning was to survive.
Right.
But even once we got going, I think it took us a while to really like lay it out.
Yeah. And to figure out, what we wanted to do, where we want to take it, when we want to exit it, all the things.
All the things. If we're going to exit, when we exit.
I mean, now there's 3 companies, so there is no exit soon. That's for sure. But we'll figure out what that looks like in each business as we progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really crazy, huh?
Therapy brings things to light.
Yeah, so we talk about therapy, coaching tools, right?
Things that we learned, right? But then one of the stats we found was that co-founders break up faster than couples. And I was like, that's interesting. Because John and I have always been partners in life, but also partners in business.
Yeah.
And now with the third company, we have business partners. So we're seeing things in a completely different lens than someone who like maybe just started something with a partner that they're not married to, and how that dynamic works, versus for us, it's always been us. Now we have other people to, bounce ideas off and play off of and see where it goes.
Well, look, how do you feel? How do you feel about that? Because it has been us for so long.
Well, before we even did that, I think we were in agreement that we weren't ever going to have partners. It was just us.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, this opportunity's coming about. And I was a little nervous at first, but I think that it's been really good. I've learned a lot working with both of our partners. They're fantastic people, great energy, great personalities. And I think we all mesh really well together.
Yeah.
So at this stage of the game, I'm really liking it. It's just a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Finding time to get everything done. Like I haven't worked late in forever. And there's been a few nights these last couple of weeks where I've been here like a couple hours after everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Like your mornings. So
yeah, because I'm getting here early. I feel myself getting here early and earlier. So 4:40 in the morning, something like that, to 5. And because I have I have an hour at least, and it's just hammering away until like the maintenance guys get here, and I kind of check in with those guys, and then it's a lot.
Right.
And then I think I think that's the other thing is like in our journey of figuring out how to run these businesses and how to communicate together. Little John's was like, man, that was like we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right.
We got very lucky because we got ourselves in a group. We argued about that, by the way.
It was expensive.
Expensive, yes. And I got the business in that room. I like had little forms and I like took it down like if we were gonna sign up. And I remember giving it to Jonathan. It's like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. My wife is really mad or whatever. And he's like, okay,
It's very beneficial though.
It was very beneficial.
It worked out well.
So I think there's that. And I think when we started Call Boss, like we had a vision of what it was going to look like. Call Boss is a whole nother beast. And so like kind of getting that going, and we're in year 6.
This is 7.
So 14 years for Little John, 7 years for Call Boss. In another company, they've been together 10 years.
I think, they've been 10 years.
Yeah, and so we're coming into this. We've started talking about 2 or 3 years ago, and then it's always been on our board to have this type of business. I felt like we needed to have something that's already established, not built from the ground up, because I think that can It could take too long.
Long time and a lot of money.
Yeah. So we were able to we positioned ourselves and got in, and so we purchased 50% of the company. But I think it's really you and I working together. I think is like really worked out. There's some times like doesn't always work, right? Like we get a little like, but I think as a whole, as working together as a company, building the first one, getting the second one, stepping into the third, though it's already there, like restructuring it is what we're in the process of getting ready to do, and the marketing and all this other things. I think that is like, I'm really grateful that we started and that we have this relationship, because it is kind of interesting. We'll be on Zoom calls with the other, we have a set Zoom call days, and we can literally just look at each other on the Zoom call and be like, okay. You know, like
we think the same, so
yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah, which has been very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So anyways, I just think that, yeah, don't take your spouse or whatever, you know, you got to find out where they want to come, where they're coming from, you know, how they react to certain things. Therapy, I think, is great. I know it's taboo, but I think it's like great.
Even if you're an entrepreneur whose spouse is not in the business, the stress that entrepreneurs have just every day, it's probably worth having therapy with you and your partner, even though they're not in the business, so that they understand the stress that you're feeling and what you're going through just to make it through a day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much riding on our shoulders every single day.
Yeah.
You know, anything can happen. God forbid we break a car window and then we broke a back door on the same day. And don't forget the mower stopped working. Like, that all can happen in 15 minutes, you know? And it's like, you may be super stressed out, but I don't know what's happening outside. Right. And then I come in and I'm like, oh, you're not happy. And then I find out what's going on. I'm like, okay, makes sense. But having that person be in therapy with you, so they not necessarily know all the things that you go through, but the bulk of what's happening in your world, so they have some empathy or understanding as to where you're coming from every day.
Right. Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think there is, like, we have layers now at Little John, especially with the broken window. Like, great, we know about it. We're not dealing with it exactly. Like,
it's all written up. They know who to call.
Other people deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's good. You know, like, we'll hear about upset customers. I kind of get a briefing every morning, kind of what happened the day before, what's happened today, you know, kind of thing, which is good, because I think that being involved in 3 companies total and then having to deal with that stuff at one particular company, I think would just be way too much.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I think right now it's probably it is a stretch, if, like, we're being candid, you know, having 3 companies at the same time and, like, having the role at all 3 companies has been tough. So, but
probably not the best choice, but timing. I mean, if we didn't get in the opportunity when we did, we might have missed it.
We would have missed it. Yeah.
So sometimes you got to take a risk.
Yep. I think that's right. But I think it also forces you to set other things up to get them off your plate. It's making you, like, push things to other people, or get who could really be dealing with this, or finding somebody who could deal with it that's more qualified or equipped to deal with it. So I think there's that side of it, you know. So I just think that, yeah, and you're probably right. If your spouse is not in the business, it's probably even more important too, because now they don't really understand where you're coming from. They're just like, oh, you're home, let's go see it, or why you're working so late, or why you're gone so long, or whatever. And I think that sometimes they need to understand there's, like, a lot of stuff going on in the background.
Right. I mean, there were times in the beginning where you would work super late, and I'd be like, these kids are home, you need to help me. But because I was in it, I knew what you were doing. And so it was like, okay, do that, I'll do this, and we'll, you know, join back in the morning and figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I see both sides, because I was in it when I didn't want to be in it, and then I'm in it now still.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. It's never easy.
No.
That's the other thing. Like, this isn't about couples therapy, but just a side note, owning a business is not everybody's cup of tea. This, like, I feel like it's the great American dream. It's like almost like the great American lie, right? Like, oh, start a business, you'll be super successful, you'll do all these things. We see people crash and burn all the time, and it's heartbreaking, right? But you're like, man, you know, you gave up too soon, or you didn't really weren't in it to win it.
That part. I think some people think it's an awesome idea to have the business, but they don't realize how much work is going to be put into it.
Or they don't realize they're not going to get paid right away necessarily, right?
That too. And there's things that have to be done, and I think people give up too easy.
Oh, yeah. Because it does get hard. It's going to get hard. Like we used to make a reference, like it's like getting up every day and get kicked in the face. And like, okay, let's do it again. And that's kind of what it's like, especially when you're getting started. If you have no money or very little money, and you're out hunting for work and it's dependent on you getting enough work to survive, like that's a great
time to be in therapy. Man. And work through some things with your therapist to make sure that you're not going to burn out. You're not going to quit. You're not going to give up. I mean, our household doesn't have the give up gene anyways, so it's not really a thing.
It doesn't seem like it.
No.
It's a great example that your kids will end up seeing. Like, because, you don't stop.
Yeah. You just got to keep going.
Crazy.
The alternative is to get a job and probably have less headaches or just different headaches, right? But if you can get over that hump.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing, man, if you're not going to go and start your own business, just be really good at what you do.
Sure.
Show up early, do a great job, put pride in it, right?
Do your best work. Yep.
Man.
Give it your all.
Yep. Give it your all.
I mean, I think we were all taught that in the beginning. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of missing now, but
Think so?
I feel like a lot of people are quitters now.
Yeah.
So, and we see that in like the sports world with our kids, right? As they were growing up and going through different levels.
Yeah.
Where's XYZ? Oh, they quit. Oh, okay.
Make an excuse why they quit.
Right. And then as you get to, when your kids get older, you still see it like in the workplace. You know, people that come here, again, if you've followed us for a while, we hire and fire by our core values, people driven, do the right thing, embrace the suck. And we say that if you can do those things, you'll be fine here. Yeah. And the ones that say that and can't, it's like you're giving up.
Yeah.
You're not embracing the suck, or you don't care about people. Well, you can't be here.
It's so ingrained right now, and the guys on the outside at Little John's, like you bring a new guy, and they're like, that one ain't gonna make it. And you're like, oh shoot, okay.
Well, they said they understood all three, so. But again, therapy brings clarity, right? Yeah. And so we were able to really dial down on the things that we're doing and make sure everyone here understands across the board, and all of our teams do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Is there anything I'd like to add?
No, I think we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.